Hey folks, welcome to Market Technical Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com, your leaders in pure technical analysis, avoiding all that Wall Street hype. Well, today, Wednesday, April 9th, 2008, and in this video today, I want to cover some odds and ends, basically on what we had talked about in 2 videos ago, on seeing a possibility of a little bit of a fall in the markets prior to the next leg up. We saw a little bit of that yesterday, although the market still hung in there tough. Today we saw a little more of a downside in the markets, and we're going to discuss that, how we knew that was coming, and what we see coming into the future over the next couple days and over the next couple weeks. Okay? What I just want to cover, number one, first of all, guys, definitely come and check out the E-Mini swing trading, day trading chat room we have running right now. Just a phenomenal, we had another nice day in there today. Although the market was generally on just a downdraft, there were a couple interesting plays out there to watch and discuss and analyze, along with the market conditions. So definitely come check that out. It's very inexpensive, $199 per month. Those of you out of the country, I know when you sign up, it doesn't necessarily give you the outlying fields. Just plug in anything there. It's not a matter. We just need your email in there. That's the important part. All right, let's just also touch on the swing trade alerts and the options alerts. Come join us there. Now let's go right into the action today. What did we see today? We saw the markets basically, open slightly to the positive side. And overall, the markets had a nice little down day today, which is what we had wanted to see. You always want to see a little bit of a pullback or a little more of a downdraft. And we had noticed 2 days ago, and I mentioned this in 2 days ago video, that we had changed our bias from a sideways market before the next move up to needing a little bit of a pullback. And basically, we started to see that yesterday, and again, we saw that today, as you saw the NASDAQ selling off about 26.6 points, and the Dow sold off about 50 points today, while the S&P was down about 11. So NASDAQ really led the downside here, although the financials were very, very weak. You saw Lehman selling off almost 10% on the day, and closing near the lows of the day. We'll see if we get a bounce out of Lehman tomorrow or not. I'm not sure which way it'll go. There's definitely issues in these financials that aren't going away, and they're going to have to be taken care of. Maybe some of these become the next Bear Stearns. We don't know. But in any case, what you saw today was the market opening up, and you can see this nice little run about 5:36 in the morning, and these are Eastern times, so Eastern times here. And what you saw was a little bit of a sell-off, and then we started to form what many of you guys like, triangles. Now, triangles to us are just either bull or bear flags, and you're just watching for a break. There's nothing more than that. And you can see beautifully right in here how you had the line at the bottom end and then the line at the top end. Okay? Now, the dead signal, and this is why you could have actually jumped on this play prior, although you could have waited to the break and it gave you a huge gain either way. But look at the intraday move here. You had a fake breakout. As soon as this candle closed with the topping tail and you broke below the low here of that candle, it was a pretty good sense you'd at least see the bottom of this trend, and then you'd possibly see a breakdown. So in many instances, you want to wait for that line, but when you have a topping tail there like that, where, granted, it's just more of a signal that that buyers came in and they all got crushed. All the buyers that tried to push the market up here basically were sold right into it. It pushed it right back down. Then once you took out the low of that candle, you knew you were going to see the low of this trend here, this little bottom trend line. And then once you took out that, it was off to the races. And look at the sell side action you got on that short. All right, so just to point that out to you guys. Now, this came basically at 9:30 in the morning, so you had to be right on point at the start of the open to capture anything on that. But anyways, you got a nice little sell side move there. You got a sideways consolidation, a breakdown to new lows, but you also got a nice little bounce into the close here. And the market was down. The NASDAQ was down about 30 and change for a while. But this late day bounce, which we've been seeing lately, is the market rallying late in the day, continues to hold the market in a beautiful consolidation pattern, pullback pattern. And again, just to keep in mind, folks, we had been looking for a little bit of a pullback here, and we've been saying that for a couple days now. And now we are, believe it or not, I'm beginning to get that kind of anxious, anticipatory feeling in me as we set up for this next move up. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys the daily now as we go into that. By the way, folks, volume today, it was okay. It was better than yesterday. Was it good volume? No. Was it good? We did not do enough volume to be considered good volume. We didn't even do average volume today. So again, even though on the pullback, you're still seeing light volume, although the volume was slightly heavier than yesterday. I think I heard that volume yesterday was the lightest of the year. So it goes to show this consolidation pattern that's going on. Okay, let's quickly flip over to the daily SPY chart here, and let me punch in SPY on my chart, and you guys can see what we're talking about. Now, notice the angle here initially. That's not what we wanted to see, and that's why right on this day here, we said once we saw this little reversal, and you can see a move where we gapped up and we actually sold. This was the first day in quite a while where we actually closed near the lows of the day. That's in the video that night. We said, hey guys, watch for a possible little bit of a pullback more here before the next rally, and you've seen what we've gotten here. And you saw that little bit of a downdraft. Now we're beginning to create a pattern that's looking more and more bullish, and by that I mean you wanted to see a pattern that's angled to this way. Okay, that type of pattern is a bullish pattern, and oftentimes off of that pattern you get basically a blast off just like that. So in any case, there's a couple other things on this daily chart I want to point out. Number one is now we're finally starting to see this push. Number two, you see the little tail there formation at the lows of the day where we pushed up and formed a little bit of a tail. Now, it's not a bottoming tail because you have to beat the highs or the lows of the chart on the daily here, and it's not that. But nonetheless, it shows strength. It shows that buyers came in and scooped things up down there and were able to push the market to close off the lows of the day. Now, the second thing I want to point out is look at the 20 moving average here and the that's the 50 moving average. So you have the 20 in yellow and purple is the 50. I hope everyone can see that on these videos. I know it's sometimes a little bit of a dark trend line there. But in any case, you have two trend lines. One is right here, and one is coming right up here. Now, when these trend lines come together, and the 20 always rises faster or drops faster than the 50 because it's less moving average period, these will combine right around this area, probably, right in this area, and cause what's called a necktie. Now that becomes very, very good support, and in our book, that's what we're looking for, a possible touch. We may have even tested it today, and we'll have to watch that to see exactly whether or not this was really a test today, or was this just a little, didn't come down and touch it, but moving averages don't necessarily always have to be touched. It's an in spirit of move, where it comes almost to it, it either pierces it or touches it, and then you get that move up possibly off of that. So we're really watching this key now as these moving averages come together to form a solid support line, and we'll see if it creates the next move up. All right, there may be one or two more days of consolidation. The way we're viewing it right now is simply this. You had too many bullish people a couple days ago. We switched our view once we saw that, plus the reversal in the day, to needing a little bit of a pullback. Now you're starting to see the adjustment of more bears coming in, and maybe it's more even. Now, if we can get more bears on board here, or if there are enough bears on board, then the psychological tables can be turned again, and you'll see the rally. In addition, the charts are setting up for that, and we'll continue to watch for that. Notice here, the volume just continues to be extremely light down here. All right, this whole consolidation pattern right here and the volume right here, it's really been very, very light volume ever since right over here. This was when the big volume was, when we were consolidating and flip-flopping up and down, trying to find a range. Now we started to move up, and it's been a little on the lighter side of volume, especially this consolidation period. Okay, so there's a couple things we're looking for, but we may see some more pause days or some more little small pullback days setting up for a ginormous move. Now, the key here is options expiration is next week. You guys know we're huge believers in the market going the opposite way into options X and being very whipsawed. All right, that means huge moves both ways, very possible, as one day the market may drop hard on options X day a week, and everyone jumps in on the put side, but then they'll rally the market huge the next day to get everyone out of those positions and get them long, and then vice versa. It goes back and forth. But basically, the general trend of options X can be the opposite way of everyone else. So whoever's leading the pack here, and it's a close one right now. All right, we did have more bulls in the camp. Now there may be slightly even to more bears, and we'll have to see. Let's look at the NASDAQ. It's the same type of chart. It's a beautiful chart, no doubt about it. And you're noticing the same type of necktie situation even closer here. You got the 50 right here and the 20 right here, and they're almost together, and the market almost came into that moving average necktie. It could be considered an in spirit of, as we always say. We'll have to note the action tomorrow and notice that very early on in the day to see if it confirms it or not. But again, as I say, the NASDAQ could be setting up for another sideways to a slightly lower move where you actually pierce this area, or we could be getting ready just to blast off into options X week if we have enough bears on board. All right, so there's a lot of different things going on in this market, and the patterns are just a beautiful pattern type situation. We have, as I mentioned, the psychological indicators, our proprietary indicators, and it does look like we are setting up for another move higher after we've gotten a nice little pullback here this week so far. And again, you're not looking for a big pullback, and let's always look at the downside. I should always cover the downside in these videos. And should we close below this necktie and confirm it, meaning a close right down here, let's say, and the next day we trade underneath that low of that candle, then we have to reevaluate. And we'll start to look for support areas, which number one would probably be right around here. Should we close below, the next area would be right in that line where you see support on the NASDAQ. And let me draw that in again and take this one out. All right, so there would be some support should we close underneath this necktie area right here. And after that, then we'd start looking at this general area down here. Should we obviously test that area, then we have to start analyzing the downside even further, whether or not we break the lows and go lower. But at this stage of the game, we're looking very short term. And short term, maybe more consolidation in this market. But we are nearing, and I want to stress that. Every day we've come in here, we're getting nearer and nearer to this monster move that we're expecting. The question is, do we come down just a little more before we do it, or do we do it very shortly? Have a wonderful day, guys. Focus in on the swing trade alerts. Come join us at the options alerts. The chat room just rocking and rolling. It's such a fun time. The learning experience is 1 in a million. You guys should definitely get in on it. I can't stress that enough. And obviously, we do institutional consulting and reports for those out there that run hedge funds and institutions and brokerages. We're always there to help you guys and get you guys on the right page, as well as individual consulting. You want us to go over your portfolio? Well, feel free. Always remember, it's just our suggestions. You always consult your financial advisor before making any financial decisions based off this video. Take care, guys.